Lock up your daughters, boys and girls. The Dark Knight returns. Hello, heroes and villains. Welcome to Multiverse. So there is this rumor. I will qualify it as a rumor, otherwise, because it's as far as I can tell, it's not confirmed. There's some fairly good sources that are mentioning it, but as far as I can tell, it's only a rumor. And also, there's a few variations on the rumor. So the rumor is that Michael Keaton will return as the Batman. For those of you who may not know, Michael Keaton played the Batman in the 1989 Batman movie, and then in the follow-up, Batman Returns. I don't know about you guys, but to me, it's a pretty exciting news if it's true. I'm a big fan of Michael Keaton as Batman. I still remember in 1989, you couldn't go anywhere without seeing the Bat emblem everywhere. The Batman movie from 1989 was a big thing at the time, not just in terms of movie, but in terms of popular culture. I remember in '88, I went to New York, and in Times Square, you could not go 20 feet without seeing like a vendor selling a whole bunch of Batman T-shirt. So again, the Batman emblem was prior to the movie, but even after the movie was a big hit. So you couldn't go anywhere without seeing the Bat emblem somewhere. It was a pretty freaky thing. So right now there's a whole bunch of crazy rumors going about that. So we'll take a look at a few of those rumors, and I'll tell you a little bit what I think about it. I don't usually make videos like this, but some of you guys may not know this. I used to work in animation. I worked on quite a few animated series and even a handful of movies. So I do have some behind the scene knowledge of the movie industry, sadly. So I'm going to try to give my 2 cents about what's going on and where it might lead us to, and also about what I think might be too crazy that it'll never happen. So the rumor first started with people saying that Michael Keaton was going to play the Batman in a Flashpoint movie. We've known for quite some time that there was going to be a Flashpoint movie. Obviously, the Flashpoint movie was kind of expected to be a reset for the DC movie universe. Uh, we used to call it the DCEU, but apparently it's not supposed to be called the DCEU. But we never really got a good name to call the DC movie universe, so I'll just try to call it that in this video. So basically, the Flashpoint was supposed to be a reset, basically not erasing, but restarting the DC movie universe without the Zack Snyder universe, if it makes any sense. Basically, the DC movie universe was pretty much the Zack Snyder universe, but they were supposed to reset the whole thing with Flashpoint and make it something else. From what we understand, J.J. Abrams is the one who's pretty much in charge of the DC universe right now when it comes to movies. So we can only assume that Flashpoint will restart the DC movie universe into what will be, I assume, the J.J. Abrams universe. Although at some point we did have other rumors that were telling us that the movie that will actually reset the whole thing would be Wonder Woman 1984. Apparently, Wonder Woman 1984 will be resetting the whole DC movie universe into the whatever will follow afterwards. But then we got the rumors recently about not just rumors. We got the confirmation recently that there would be a Justice League Zack Snyder cut made for HBO Max. So it kind of muddles everything right now. Obviously, there was AT&T some time ago that purchased Time Warner, and there was probably a lot of changes that came from that. So probably a lot of the plans that the DC movie universes had in the pipeline are probably being changed right now. But originally, Flashpoint was supposed to reset the DC movie universe into what will come next. Now apparently it will be the Wonder Woman movie that will do that. But we're gonna have to wait and see what truly happens. But anyway, so basically, Michael Keaton was supposedly in talk to be able to play the Batman in the Flashpoint movie. And then the rumor kind of morphed a bit, saying that he would actually play the Batman for a whole bunch of projects, not just the Flashpoint movie. So that is where the rumor started. And then the rumor evolved, saying that not only would he be playing Batman in the Flashpoint movie, but he would also be playing Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, in a Batman Beyond movie. I'm not too sure about that one. And then also afterwards, someone mentioned that the Batman Beyond movie would be a live adaptation of the the Batman Beyond, the Return of the Joker animated movie, and they even mentioned, and some people even said that they would go as far as hiring Tim Burton to direct the movie and hiring Johnny Depp to play the Joker in the Batman Beyond movie. I might almost believe that maybe Michael Keaton could play Batman in a Batman Beyond movie, but sadly, I don't believe one second that they're going to make a Batman Beyond movie. Uh, it's a it's pretty much simple math. If you have a choice between making a Batman movie that will make, let's say, $1 billion, or a Batman Beyond movie that will make half of that, which one do you think they'll make? There is a cult following for Batman Beyond. I'm personally a big fan of Batman Beyond, but sadly, when it comes, we saw it with the merchandising. At some point, when there was some Batman Beyond merchandising, when people were faced with the choice of buying the Batman merchandising or the Batman Beyond merchandising, they would buy the Batman merchandising. So a Batman movie would make a lot more money than a Batman Beyond movie, and even one that had Michael Keaton. I understand that Michael Keaton would probably be a draw for a lot of people, so it would be as if they were trying to get the best of both worlds if they had Michael Keaton into a Batman Beyond movie. But at the end of the day, with brand recognition, a lot more people would go to see a Batman movie than a Batman Beyond movie. So if you're going to invest $100 million, what do? You go for the safe bet, and that is what Hollywood producers will do every time. Although once in a while we'll see them making crazy decisions that are very hard to explain, but as a rule of thumb, if they have a choice between what they see as a sure bet, that's what they'll go with. And also right now we have the actor from Twilight, what's his name, Robert Pattinson, who's they're making a Batman movie with him. And I'm a bit surprised by the casting of Michael Keaton because DC have been trying really hard not to make ombrage to the actors when they're playing a role. For example, when we had Jared Leto playing the Joker, they pretty much did everything they could to get rid of the Joker in Gotham, or to make sure that there would be no Joker in Gotham, or no characters called as such in Gotham. They were very protective of Jared Leto, who was playing the Joker on the big screen at the time. And then, ironically enough, they came up with a new Joker right after that pretty much overshadowed Jared Leto. So you have to wonder exactly what they're thinking sometimes. But I find it a bit hard to believe that they would cast Ombrage to the Robert Pattinson Batman by having Michael Keaton cast as Batman in another movie. In context of the multiverse, you could have both. You can have the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. You could have a Michael Keaton Batman movie, and a lot of people probably would be happy. But sadly, usually executives are worried a bit about brand dilution. Again, you don't want to have multiple Batman movies, especially different Batman movies. You want to have a strong brand that will show you one Batman. But we haven't seen very much about the Robert Pattinson movie, so we have no idea if we have no idea will it be any good or not. And sadly, they seem to be trying to make a Batman for the Twilight crowd. It's something they've been trying to do in the comics as well. Somehow they've the people making the comics, and right now it would seem the people making the movies seem to have in their heads that they can somehow attract the Twilight crowd to their properties, and that seems to be what they're doing. They seems to be trying to make a Batman for the Twilight crowd. So the Michael Keaton news would be a great Batman for Batman fans, and especially Batman fans that love the Tim Burton Batman movie. But from the point of view of movie executives, I find that unlikely to happen. I could believe that Michael Keaton would play a small cameo in the Flashpoint movie as the Batman, not unlike what we saw in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. If you guys saw the Crisis on Infinite Earths event in the CW TV shows, there was a whole bunch of cameo. Yeah, the cameo from Burt Ward, who played Robin in 1966. We even had Alexander Knox from the Batman 1989 movie. So we did have cameos like that, showing pretty much the multiverse, showing a lot of different properties within the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover. But so I could imagine within the context of Flashpoint, yeah, maybe having a cameo with Michael Keaton as the Batman for a scene or two. But I strongly doubt they would go all in and actually start using him as the Batman in a meaningful way. But I hope to be wrong. I hope they actually do that. But sadly, I don't have much faith in producers and executives. So I strongly doubt that they would do something to please the fans. They'll if they do something, it's going to be either to try to play it safe, or it's going to sometimes try to push some of their own ideas. Let's say. So Michael Keaton coming back as playing Batman Beyond is one of the rumors that we've heard right now. And again, some people are trying to suggest that if somehow they convince Michael Keaton to play Batman in a Batman Beyond movie, that they would be able to convince Tim Burton to direct that movie, and that then they would be able to convince Johnny Depp from playing the Joker. But again, all of this is rumors. And the other rumor is that apparently Michael Keaton would be coming back to play the Batman in a The Dark Knight Returns movie adaptation of the comics of the same name. There was already an animated adaptation, but that's not why I would find it unlikely. The reason why I would find that unlikely is that technically they strip mined The Dark Knight Returns quite a lot. We saw quite a lot of iconic images from The Dark Knight Returns into the Batman vs Superman movie, and also the Christopher Nolan Batman movie, especially the third one, took a lot of inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns. We have Bruce Wayne retiring from being the Batman for 8 years, as opposed to 10 in the original comics. And he finally comes back as the Batman again. And even the scene where he comes back, they pretty much recreated more or less the scene where you have those two cops in their cars, and there's an older cop and a rookie, and they see the Batman, and at first the rookie wants to pursue Batman. We saw a similar scene in The Dark Knight Rises when they steal whatever money from the stock exchange, and then the evil thief are trying to run away, and then Batman comes in. You have those two cops, the older guy and the rookie. So they pretty much replayed that scene a bit. That's the best example I can think of something they took from The Dark Knight Returns. But there's a whole bunch of like the Bane is pretty much the mutant leader from the Dark Knight Returns. They already strip mined the Dark Knight Returns quite a lot for the movies. So sadly, if they were to ever make The Dark Knight Returns into a movie, I guarantee you they will make a whole bunch of changes to try to replace a lot of the scenes or a lot of the iconic moments that have already been made in various movies. We saw a perfect example of that when we got the Watchmen movie. There's this powerful scene in the Watchmen comic where Rorschach basically he catches a guy who killed a little girl, and he chains the guy to I forget, to a stove or something. And he chains the guy to I think it's a wooden stove. So he chains the guy with cuffs to the stove. He gives him a saw, and then he puts the whole place on fire, and then he leaves. And basically, the guy, if he wants to survive, is gonna have to chop off his own hand in order to be able to escape. Uh, Sadly, they did not. They changed that scene in the movies. In the movies, all Rorschach does is that he takes a meat cleaver and he rams it into the guy's head. It's sad, but that's how they changed the scene. What was a powerful scene, a subtle scene, and again a powerful scene, was turned into something not so powerful where he just butchers the guy. So they took a scene with a lot of nuances and they turned it into something not nuanced at all. And the reason why they did that is that because there was a similar scene in I think it's the first Mad Max movie. Actually, I think it was called the Road Warrior at the time. So the first Mad Max movie had a similar scene where they chain up a guy, they put fire to the thing, and they leave. And because they did not want to repeat that scene in Watchmen, even though the scene came directly from the comic, they decided to change the scene completely because they were worried about repeating the scene from the first Mad Max movie. And sadly, if they were to make The Dark Knight Returns as a movie, I guarantee you that any scene in The Dark Knight Returns that have already been made in other movies, they would try to change those scenes so that it would be different. In theory, it would make sense for Michael Keaton to come back and play Batman in The Dark Knight Returns, an older Batman. It would make a lot of sense. But from sadly, from the point of view of executives, I don't think it would happen. Again, I wish to be wrong. I wish they go against what I think would happen and they make it happen. Once in a while, it happens. Once in a while, you're convinced that something will never happen, and it actually does. So you knock on wood, you count your blessings, and you end up being very grateful that you were wrong. In that case, if they were to remake The Dark Knight Returns into a live action movie, I wish they would use Michael Keaton to play Batman. But sadly, at this point, whether it's Michael Keaton playing in the Flashpoint movie, whether it's Michael Keaton playing in a Batman Beyond movie, or whether it's Michael Keaton playing in a Dark Knight Returns movie, at this point, all we have is rumors. And the rumor is in talk with Warner about reprising his role as the Batman. So what do you think? Do you think there's any truth to any of those rumors? Would you like to see Michael Keaton come back as the Batman? Are you a Michael Keaton fan at all? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We could have a lot of fun speculating about what could happen. Again, personally, I hope it happens. I hope that Michael Keaton comes back as the Batman. Sadly, I don't believe 1 second that he will come back to play Batman in a Dark Knight Returns movie. And I don't believe that he will be Batman in a Batman Beyond movie either. My best guess would be that he will be Batman, but just as a small cameo in the Flashpoint movie. Not unlike a lot of the cameos we saw in the various CW shows in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And that is going to be pretty much it for now, guys. So as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.